Hey, it's Deuce Loosely, Devil's favorite advocate here, and Horsey McGruff is on vacation. Well, actually, he's hopefully on permanent vacation. Actually, he's still hanging around a little bit. My voice is still a little bit rough, but anyway, I'm not exactly sure what to say this week, except to bring up. See, I was going to bring up something that I saw on Raw this past week that I think the WWE missed out on. They really kind of missed the boat on, and I think they should backtrack to it. But according to reports from Pro Wrestling Observer, Pro Wrestling Insider, those other places, um, WWE just doesn't seem to know what it wants to do with the WrestleMania main event. They keep changing their mind week after week. And it's not like, no matter what they do, we're going to be unhappy with it. Well, of course, you can't please everyone. But right now, at this point, I would just be happy with them settling on something. It's like, set something down, put something in ink. Just say, this is what we're going to do. And I want them to decide on something, build towards it so it doesn't seem meaningless by the time they, get to WrestleMania. It's like there should be at least 2 months of decent build for something that's going into a, flagship show like WrestleMania. I mean, the main event should not be an afterthought, but that's what it's becoming. The more they change their mind and the more they stall on this, the more it's going to seem like, well, this really didn't mean anything. And it's really starting to look that way. And the thing, and this is what I was looking at before, Monday night. Well, actually, on Monday, after Monday night. After Monday night. This is what I was looking at. The point I was going to make was that WWE have missed the boat with a program between Bray Wyatt, Daniel Bryan, and Dolph Ziggler. Why? Because Daniel Bryan, okay, again, this was after Monday night, and before I started hearing the reports that Vince had changed his mind again about the main event. This is like the third time. What I wanted to say was Daniel Bryan is not winning at the next pay-per-view against Roman Reigns. Because Roman's going to the main event. We all know this. He's not going to be excluded. Why? Because if Roman Reigns does not go to the main event at WrestleMania, Royal Rumble will be completely devalued. It will be rendered pointless, and there will be no credibility towards, the Royal Rumble. It's like, what did it mean? He won a title shot, or he won a main event slot at WrestleMania at Royal Rumble. If that's taken away from him, then Royal Rumble was meaningless, and it shouldn't have happened, or it never happened. That's pretty much what it boils down to. So Reigns is winning at the next pay-per-view. It has to happen if Royal Rumble's to retain any credibility. The creative is throwing, they're throwing the diagrams away on prior history between Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan. Now, Dolph Ziggler and Bryan have been tweeting back and forth. They've been talking back and forth. They want to have a program together. And here comes Bray Wyatt beating the crap out of Dolph Ziggler. And, it seems like he's calling out Undertaker. That's becoming pretty obvious. So, WrestleMania is probably not the place to, connect Wyatt and Ziggler. But Ziggler can use these recent losses as a source of frustration for him turning heel and turning against Daniel Bryan, for them starting a program as soon as possible. Maybe he factors into Daniel Bryan's loss at the next pay-per-view. We need something reasonable. We need something that makes sense to make this happen. I mean, right now, it looks like a bunch of puzzle pieces mixed up on the floor, and one is lost behind the couch that we need to finish this puzzle, to finish this picture. And right now, it's really starting to look like no one knows where this ship is going. So, basically, they need to bring back Wyatt's history with Bryan in some form or fashion to make sense of, Ziggler. And there needs to be some connection there. The WWE needs to stop throwing away the diagrams on past history between people so they can actually get the, older fans, for lack of a better word, more involved. Because right now the kids are taking over and they're really dumbing down a lot of the storylines, a lot of the angles and whatnot. A lot of the adults are sitting here scratching their heads. They're not making sense of this because it's just kind of dumb, pretty much. But anyway, yeah, that's basically what I had right after Raw on Monday night, before I heard that Vince was changing his mind yet again about the WrestleMania main event. The reports are it's going to involve a three-way yet again this year, and I don't think anybody wants this. I don't think anybody wants a three-way. And to truth be told, after thinking about it, after mulling it over a while, I don't want Daniel Bryan with the main company title. I don't want Daniel Bryan as the WWE champion. I'm starting to see it more and more. For whatever reason, I just don't see him as being a long-term face for the company. It has to be somebody else. I don't see Roman Reigns as being that guy yet. John Cena is 37, from what I heard last. Isn't he 37? Somebody correct me on this if I'm wrong. But he's nearing that stage in his career where he needs to pass the torch to someone. And WWE needs to stop leaning on him so much and try and find that guy for him to pass the torch along to. And they're not really building anyone to that place. It looks like they're trying a little bit with Roman Reigns, but it's not happening. It's not happening in the right way anyway. I mean, people are kind of turning against Roman Reigns because Vince McMahon is having too much of a say in what happens with this character. They need to take the script away from Reigns and let him be himself, let him do his own thing, because being a mouthpiece for Vince McMahon is not working. So, yeah, there are problems with problems with WWE, and they need to get a rudder and figure out how to steer this boat. But enough about that. Let me move on to what we saw on NXT Wednesday night this past week. I got screwed on the predictions a lot, and that's probably a good thing because I don't want a pay-per-view or an event or whatever it's called to be predictable. I don't want things to be too simple. And I have a habit of second-guessing WWE in their judgments. Now, the speculation was that NXT Rival was not going to be the barn burner, if you will, that our Evolution was. And in some ways it wasn't. It didn't live up to the level. It didn't reach the level that our Evolution did. And maybe WWE is scaling back a little bit on giving NXT the creative freedom that they had with that last event. Maybe they're trying to tone down the backstage tension at WWE in the locker room, because, I know that people backstage were complaining that, hey, the NXT roster has too much freedom. They're making us look like chumps. Well, this past event, it still made the main roster look like chumps, but not as much as last time, which I don't see as a really good thing. I don't want to see NXT dragged down to where WWE is. I still think NXT should be given its own regular TV show. It has the talent, it has the writers, and it should be kept to 1 hour, maybe 2 per week, and that's it. But let me get to this past event, Wednesday night. I took Dempsey over Corbin, and yeah, that didn't work out for me. It was kind of a throwaway for me. I really didn't care for either guy, but I thought, Bull Dempsey would have taken that. I thought Charlotte would be given one last big title defense. I thought they would give her one more. But honestly, I think her legend, if you want to call it that, is cemented in NXT. The last thing that I want to see for Charlotte is for her to be called up to WWE and homogenized as just another diva. I don't want to see that. She deserves better. And, I mean, any female in NXT deserves better than to be homogenized as just another diva, because that's pretty much what's going to happen when she gets called up. And I'm calling it. It's probably going to happen. It's a shame. But anyway, I did manage to predict that Finn Balor was going over Adrian Neville. And that's what needed to happen. Finn Balor needs to push more. He needs that bump more than Adrian Neville, who is continuously rumored to be called up to WWE. And dear God, I hope he's not being given some Mighty Mouse gimmick that I've been hearing about. Oh God, don't do that to him. Just let him come in and feud with Sheamus. Make Sheamus a heel, bring Adrian Neville up, have those two feud. Where is the problem in that? Give Sheamus somebody fresh to fight with. And give Neville somebody to boost off of. It makes sense, but this is WWE we're talking about. So anyway, the Lucha Dragons, they didn't win the titles back, which I'd hoped they were, but this is one I should have gone with my second guess about. I thought that maybe Murphy and Blake were going to retain, because, this was my second guess. Because Sin Cara has been, quote-unquote, winning matches in the main roster on WWE lately. And maybe this is signaling a split between the Lucha Dragons. Maybe not. I don't know. But this is what made me doubt that the Lucha Dragons would win the titles back. But since they didn't, it's probably going to result in this team splitting up in the near to intermediate future. And Sin Cara may rejoin the main roster. Hopefully, Kalisto joins them. Maybe they come up as a team. God knows the Ascension isn't doing it. So, and what about Enzo and Cass? God, please call them up already. Why are they stuck in NXT? Somebody make use of them. Anyway, I missed the boat on Zayn going over Owens. Owens pretty much took the Brock Lesnar route when he was in UFC and took his third match to win the championship. Honestly, the way they ended the match was kind of crappy. People, were just kind of like, what the fuck over this? And so was I. It was a little disappointing. It was underwhelming. It was kind of anticlimactic. Maybe they were going for some unpredictable factor or something. I don't know. But I guess in the long run, it extends whatever rivalry they're going to have going. And, Sami Zayn will continue to chase Kevin Owens for this title. Maybe it's good that there's speculation over this, and it's good that there's a possibility that this could turn into something else, something more. So, in those terms, I'm okay with the result of the match. I'm just not okay with the way it ended, actually. And as far as Itami going over Drew Brees, is that his name? Taylor Breeze? Something Breeze. Anyway, there was no way I could see Breeze going over Itami, because Itami needed it more, and I don't see Breeze anywhere near the title chase, whatever that was for. But oh yeah, I remember what this was about. But yeah, I don't see Breeze anywhere near being a top card guy. His gimmick is just a little bit too far out there, and it still feels kind of generic. I don't think he's reaching the full potential with this character. I think he could do more with it. I want to see him do better with it, at least. But for now, Hideo Itami is in a good place. He's kind of where he needs to be, but he needs a push. He needs to push higher. So, that's just my take on the last event on NXT. So far, my prediction record, I need to go back to Royal Rumble to see if there were 6 or 7 matches, including the kickoff match, because I'm counting my prediction record from the beginning of this year. So, if there were 6 matches at Royal Rumble, I went 5-1 on that one. I went 2-4 here. So in total, my track record is 7-5 for the year so far. So there you have it. That's gonna be my thing for this week. Oh yeah, the first UK show in TNA for this year, the Glasgow show, it was pretty decent. I enjoyed it a lot. A lot of good stuff happened. A lot of new beginnings are coming up. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next week. Actually, I know what happens next week. I know a couple of things that happen next week, and it's making me look forward to it even more. I think one of the best things about this week's show was the return of one of the main guys on TNA's roster. Not just that he returned, but the way he returned. It was in typical fashion for this guy. If you haven't seen it yet, consult your DVRs, consult Destination America for replay, but check out this week's Impact. It's a decent show. It really is. So, anyway, I'm cutting off. I'm done for this week. And hopefully next week I will have a solid topic and things won't seem so disjointed. So until then, this is Devil's favorite advocate, Deuce Loosely, saying, Lahoyam.